Time now for a bigger picture with Dr. Dan from Sioux Falls Hypnosis. Hello, sir.
Hello. It's a wonderful day today.
I'm excited to have you here. We're gonna talk today about heroes and villains. Yeah, I'm excited to chat about this.
Well, the idea is that everybody thinks they're the hero.
Yeah, but you're probably the villain in somebody else's story.
Well, and that's important.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks they're the hero, and we desperately want to be the hero of our own story.
Yeah.
Of whatever kind of the narrative, the thing we've got going on. We want to be the hero of it. And that's actually what we're trying to do. So much of the sort of the internal machinations in your mind, the mental gymnastics you're engaged in, the nonsense you're telling yourself, the craziness you're engaged in is for the sole purpose of making sure that you see yourself as the hero of whatever this is. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're trying to justify something you did.
Right. Justifications, rationalizations.
Some things you did.
Right, excuses. And so much of what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we can see ourselves as the hero in our own mind about what's happening. And this is really this is important because, first of all, you have to accept the fact that you get to be the hero, but you're also going to be the villain too.
Yeah. From a different perspective, you're probably not the good guy.
Right. Certainly from other people's perspective, you're going to end up being the villain. But you really need to be able to be the villain in your own head, to recognize when you are.
Yeah.
Because that is incredibly important, because if you don't ever see yourself as the villain, chances are you definitely are.
Absolutely.
It's just an awareness thing. If you can't recognize, because you get to be the hero in your own story, you absolutely do. But you have to have the clear recognition of when you're being the villain, because if you don't, then you're actually the perpetrator of a great deal of suffering around you and in your life, just simply because you're not aware of what you're doing. You don't see yourself clearly.
And if you don't know that you're the villain once in a while, you probably never apologize for the things that you do when you probably should be apologizing for some of these
Acknowledging,
things.
Okay, I did this wrong, or I could have done this better, or this could have been more useful, whatever it is. If you don't have the awareness to recognize when you're being the villain, you are out there doing it over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
And so it's one of the things that to just be aware of is to take a look at yourself. I mean, so everybody out there in radio land, just take a second and sit back in your seat and ask yourself, in all seriousness, you are certainly being the villain somewhere in your story. Where is that?
Yeah.
Where can you sit down and actually identify when you're the villain and where that's taking place? Because if you can't, you're running through your world partially blind as to what you have going on. And then what you're doing is what we were talking about before, is you are certainly the perpetrator of many of the things that are happening to you. And
when you change your perspective and look at it from a different angle, you can actually see. And I saw a great example of this. There was a video on the internet. Sadly, most of my stories involve. There was this video on the internet. Boy, I sound like I'm way younger than I really am, scrolling through the videos. But there was this video, and it said perspective is everything. And it showed a guy, just for what looked like no apparent reason, pushing a lady. Mm-hmm. And if that's all you saw, you'd go, what a jerk.
Right.
Well, then it showed from a different perspective. There was like an awning that was falling, and he pushed her.
Right.
And he saved her from getting hit by that awning. And again, if all you saw was him pushing this lady, and from that perspective, you did not see the awning at all. You just saw some guy shoving a lady, and you're like, what a jerk. But meanwhile, it was like, oh, wow, what a hero.
Right.
So in the exact same scenario, from two different perspectives, the guy went from being a jerk to a hero, or from a hero to a jerk, depending on which side you saw it first.
And the thing to embrace in this is, as people, you're going to be both.
Yeah.
We are both. And if you can't take that on and own it, if you can't, yes, you're going to be the hero and you're going to be the villain. And the whole, I guess if there was, I'm making air quotes here, if there was a secret to life, it's really to be able to recognize when you're the villain, because only when you recognize it can you actually stop, interrupt, change, do something different. If you can't even recognize it, you're not changing it. And we were talking earlier about, so how would you know you're being the villain? Yeah. Like you said, the other people are willing to tell you where you are. And I'm not suggesting they are always right, because they have their own things going on too. But when someone is suggesting to you that you're the villain, take a deep breath and give that some thought today.
Absolutely.
Give it some consideration. And And start with the idea that, I am going to be the villain as well as the hero. And I simply am. And I need to take this other person's perspective of me, what I'm doing, how I'm functioning seriously enough that I can become aware if this is where it's actually happening, if I am the villain here.
And if somebody in your life seems to be a villain, sometimes maybe it's because you don't have that perspective. You don't realize there's an awning that's about to fall on you, and they're doing this to help you. So I'm sure that there are scenarios like that too.
Well, the whole thing is to not be ashamed. You're going to be the hero sometimes, you're going to be the villain sometimes, and you know what? It's okay to do both. It's all in how you handle it.
Absolutely. If somebody listening would like to maybe become the hero in their life by admitting that they're the villain once in a while.
Exactly.
If they would like some assistance in sorting all of this out, how do they get a hold of you, Dr. Dan?
You can certainly find us on the internet at SiouxFallsHypnosis.com, or you can call us directly at 605-702-6691.
Very nice. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Dan from Sioux Falls Hypnosis. And again, SiouxFallsHypnosis.com is his website. And if you're catching the end of this, you can find this and all of the other programs that we've done on the radio as a podcast at SiouxFallsPodcast.com.